Welcome to the Soapbox Sessions. Imagine this, an open and free internet where voices are never silenced, where causes aren't shadow banned, and where no one can be deplatformed. It's real, it's here, and it's happening on Nostr. So what exactly is Nostr? It's a worldwide community of everyday people working to decentralize the internet. On Nostr, you can build websites, communities, social networks, apps, and more. One login works everywhere, you own it, and no one can take it away. No more juggling dozens of platforms, chasing audiences, or managing a giant password list. And the cherry on top? Nostr allows for built-in digital payments that can come from anywhere in the world. On Nostr, value flows as freely as ideas. We're hooked on decentralizing the web, and we think you will be too. So now, let's hear from your hosts, Derek Ross and Heather Larson, who are working to grow Nostr one vibe at a time.
Welcome back to Soapbox Sessions. Today is December 10th, 2025, and we're here with your weekly dose of all things decentralized social and AI. Soapbox Sessions is our soapbox about what's new, what's cool, and what's coming. We want to make it easy to understand and keep up with everything happening in the decentralized world of social communication and AI as we work to rebuild the internet. Hi, Heather.
What's up, Derek?
Well, for the past 3 years, I've been using this thing called the Nostr. And my 3-year anniversary for it is actually in a couple days, in 3 days.
So I know one way we could celebrate is to celebrate Nostr, your favorite thing.
Ooh.
The thing you're known best
How
for
could we
now.
celebrate the Nostr?
Well, first of all, as we're recording this on December 10th, let me be the first to wish you a happy birthday, because by the time this airs, you will be a new age. Be a little older.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate that. One more trip around the sun complete.
Well done, sir. And now it is also your
It's
Nostr
a milestone.
birthday. May I suggest we do a Nostr 101, Nostr for Dummies? What do we call it? It's the Nostr Basics? Should we go through it? Should we do it?
Yeah, I think it's time, and it's timely to talk about Nostr. Kind of start at the beginning, very, very dumb it down, because we've kind of talked about Nostr theory before, what it means, what it can mean for us as individuals, what it can mean for the world. But
that's
the
down
fact
far
of the
in
matter
rabbit
is
hole.
Nostr is still very, very technical because it's very new. There's a lot of concepts that don't exist in legacy social media. So yeah, let's talk about these.
Things we can translate into the concepts that you're used to. For example, Nostr gives you an identity. Legacy social media, you would just call that an account. But we don't get an account on Nostr. Yeah, little things like that with some nuance.
Well, let's talk about that. So on legacy
Nostr?
social media, you have your account, as Heather said. You have an account which is generally tied to an email address, which has a password. It's something we've used, well, pretty much probably since you got on the internet, no matter when that was. You've had this concept of an account.
You're going to have to give your name
sign up,
and an email and create this
blood samples, maybe they scan your face.
Age, birthday. Well, actually, Australia just, it's again December 10th, and Australia just yesterday booted everybody under the age of 16 from social media, like a laundry list of platforms that you can no longer use. So, there's a lot of the legacy social platforms are pushing age verification. Like, they want to know who you are. They want information
and that's
about you.
Where Nostr's different is that you don't have to give any of this personally identifiable information to anybody. You don't have to give it to a provider. You don't have to give it to a government. You don't have to do any of those things to use Nostr, because Nostr uses public key cryptography, and that's really geeky.
Whoa,
and
big
really
words,
nerdy. Big
really
words.
Dial it back, man.
I think we can dumb that down, right?
You don't need to know about cryptography. That's like
You don't need to be a shadowy super coder. You don't need to go to school and read cryptography. You don't need to be a cypherpunk. You don't need to be a hacker. You don't need to know any of these things.
No, you can be a
It
normal
does sound
person.
really hard. It does sound hard, but I can dumb it down and relate it to everything that you've used over the past, 2
Do
decades
it.
on social media.
Do it.
Do it.
Dumb it way down.
So
Yeah, if I
your public key, think of that public key as like your username. Only you can never change it. So your public key is kind of like your email address or your account, and you can
But what
never
does it
change it.
look like? What does my public key look like?
Oh man, it is really ugly and long. It says
It's a string.
NPUB, NPub, short for Nostr Public. And it is followed by a whole bunch of letters and numbers. And you don't need to memorize that. No human. Well, I'm sure there's a
You
few
don't have
humans.
yours memorized?
The vast majority of humans will not remember that long string of characters. If you do know your NPub, you let me know and we'll give you a big fat zap.
Someone
But
with a photographic memory would.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be some people that remember it, but you don't have to remember it. Now, we'll get to a little bit more on that in a moment.
But you do have to protect
the second
it,
part.
though.
Well, your NPub, no, you don't have to protect. You can give everybody your NPub.
Oh, I'm
You don't
thinking
protect
of
your
your
NPub.
NSEC, your secure.
Yeah. This is the secret one. This is the
So the
NSEC stands for secret. So Nostr
Let's make
secret.
a distinction. There's 2 pieces of information to be aware of. There is
Yes.
the public key and the private key, and they both look ridiculously
The private
long
key
of
is
letters and numbers.
Yes, they both have very long letters and numbers, randomly generated.
It's like an alphabet.
But again, you don't need to know these. The public one, the NPub, is what you give everybody.
Anybody can see it. It's on your profile.
Yes.
Whatever
The
app you're using,
NSEC,
it's there.
the secret one, also called the private key or the secret key. The NSEC is what you keep secure. That is your password, essentially. So if your NPub is your account name or username, your NSEC is your password. Except you can never change this password, unlike legacy social media where you can change it. You can
so
never
here's an
change your NSEC.
Important distinction. I do not have an account. I have a pair of keys. One the world can see, one the world cannot see. So I can never reset it. So if I get locked out of my account, I lose. Maybe I don't copy paste right and I'm missing a letter of my NSEC, or I lose it. It won't work anymore, so you get locked out. So I have to practice really good cyber hygiene, right, in order to hang on to my NSEC. Like
Sure.
I need to put it in LastPass, 1Password.
You want to use a password manager for this. You don't want to keep it in a text file.
It's not going to work.
It's probably bad practice to keep it as a text file on your computer. We've all seen people that write, hopefully no one that's listening does this, but we've all seen people in the past that write their passwords on like a Post-it note and tape that Post-it note like to their computer monitor or something like that. Maybe
That's
our
a very
aunts or
90s
uncles or our
thing to
parents
do.
or grandparents have done that.
Don't
I've
do
never
that.
done that. Do not do that. So with your NSEC, it's the same thing. You don't want to put your NSEC on a Post-it note. The digital version of that is putting it in a text file and saving it on your computer or saving it to Google Drive or iCloud. You don't want to do that. Use a password manager.
You will never write it out.
Use a password manager.
Yeah, you have to use. You're only going to copy and paste this thing. So yes, you need some kind of password manager. You're never going to write this out. You're never going to remember a single part of this string of letters and numbers. So just know that if you're not in the age of the password manager yet, it's time.
And I've used various password managers before. There's Dashlane, there's LastPass, there's 1Password, there's KeePass, there's Vault Warden and Bitwarden. There's all sorts of them out there, and those are all good. I would say pick one that works for you and use one of those to store your NSEC. Don't leave it in a text file and upload it to Google Drive because
don't put it in your notebook or your.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. So like the cyber hygiene is key because again, you can't recover that. Because again, if you have an account, there's a corporation that gave you that account and they have this whole IT department and everything's set up so you can have your password reset. That's what people are used to. So you're not going to have that. You have to manage it yourself with Nostr. You're managing a key pair that's never going to change. You're never going to know.
Now you brought up a good point here, Heather. is that on legacy social media, since it's controlled by a corporation and it was an account, a lot of times you can share accounts, or there are methods to where you can share an account for a team or a business setting, to where a business could allow employees or somebody to create content on their behalf. So with Nostr, you can do that, but you don't do that by sharing your NSEC, because if I give Heather, for example, my NSEC so she can post for me if I wanted to do that,
keep it forever.
I can never undo that action.
Yeah.
So if someday I say, hey, Heather, we're done doing our business relationship, you're not posting for me anymore, she can say, well, screw you, Derek, I have your NSEC, I'm still doing it.
Sorry, sucker. I have a friend who did something like
do it.
that. A friend did that, quit working at a radio station, and I won't say where in the world this was, but he set it up so that at a certain time, a week after he quit the radio station, that the station would go berserk. And he just sat and listened to the radio, because look, sometimes people are vindictive, and so he knew what time everything on the air was gonna, because it's all automation, right? He knew what time the train wreck was gonna happen, and he was listening to it and just sat there and listened to it like, ha, I did that, suckers.
Well, don't
So,
let this happen to you.
That.
Do not share your NSEC. But there are ways where you can give access to your account if you need to. There are things called remote signers or bunkers or key signers.
That sounds like really, really technical.
Yeah.
That's like let's dial it back to Nostr 101. Let's dial it back to the basics, because like once I get this key, what do I do with the key first of all before we decide to share the key or anything?
If you're just managing it yourself, you take the key and you put it into a password manager, but you want to sign into multiple applications. And the most secure way to do this is to not take your NSEC and just copy and paste it into every single website or every single application you download to your phone.
We have a name for that.
You don't raw dog your NSEC. You don't put your NSEC into every single app that wants it. You got to protect your NSEC. You got to practice safe NSECs.
Now,
to be honest,
is
though,
you will be
secure that
with
NSEC.
This, though. Like when people go to log into things, they will be presented with the choice, though, to like, can you put your NSEC in here?
Sure.
Or do you want? So that's like you'll see it, but
and there'll be multiple options.
Right. Yeah. But
there's
don't
multiple
do it
options.
Anyway, don't do it just
so if you're signing into a website, you'll generally have, I'll just say, 3 options. If it's a Nostr powered website, you'll have the NSEC, which you really don't want to use. Yeah, then you'll have a browser extension. That's okay. You can use a browser extension. You can use something like Soapbox Signer, or if you're on iOS, you can use Nostr. I almost forgot what it was called for a second. And then
you're not an iOS guy.
or you can use Albi. I recommend our new Soapbox Signer. It's really good and it supports multiple identities. So I really like that. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. So you can use that, or if you're on Android, you can use an app called Amber, A-M-B-E-R. And now this is kind of a little nerdy to get. It's not on the Google Play Store, so you have to install it from GitHub. That's
way too
technical
nerdy
for most people. But if you want to secure your key on Android, you can use that. It's not that bad. Some of us have installed apps outside the Play Store before.
There are a variety of ways
you
to
can
keep
do this.
Things secure. So you can do this. Now I will be honest.
Well, let me say one really, really easy method, Heather, that it's the same thing like Amber, the bunker, but it lives elsewhere. Now, it is in a trusted enclave a lot of the time. Yeah, so that's
what kind of world is this? We're getting people
into this. That's a secure computing environment.
Boy,
it's
kidding.
Yeah,
I think that sounds technical.
Essentially, you can trust somebody to hold your key for you, and you can use that old familiar email address and password to sign into some Nostr apps.
I think some people will do that. I think the security, we're trying to explain it, and it can't be understated. But I think some people will still be people and be going for convenience rather than cyber hygiene and security.
Yeah,
Which I think is,
I think that if you're on a laptop or desktop and you can use a extension to sign into web apps, absolutely do so. On mobile, extensions do work. Like I said, there's no stash for iOS. On Android, you can install like the Firefox browser and then install other extensions like Albi or NOS2X or Soapbox Signer. But there's also the Amber application for Android. There are ways to be secure, but most people
have raw dogged it.
Most people have done that, yeah. But I wouldn't recommend it though.
Yeah.
There are applications that are more trusted than others. I would say ones that have been around for a couple years are pretty trusted on their security. But a brand new app that launches and you've never heard of it before, or most importantly, the developer is brand new, I wouldn't be raw dogging that.
Yeah, don't trust that. Okay, so now that we've gone on the deep dive into your Nostr identity, it's going to sign
we
all
talked
of
about
your
securing your
it's
key.
important to keep it safe. I want to talk about, I think this was my aha moment almost 2 years ago after I got into Nostr, because I got into it about 2 years ago and didn't have the aha moment for a while. Okay, it was probably like January 2024 when I had the aha moment, because I realized that I could use my secret key to log into multiple things, and that the identity that I created, in other words, like the profile that I created on the first app, I would log in with my secret key on the next app. And then like the profile would just be
That's
there.
what's
like,
cool.
Yeah, so that's
how many
interoperability
times have you
piece.
had your YouTube profile, your Instagram, your Facebook, your Twitter,
you work on
your
making the thing.
whatever? You have 9 social profiles that you have to manage and 9 different identities. God, you want to change your profile photo on one of them? Then you have to do it on like 9 different other places. Or you want to update your bio or something like that. Not with Nostr.
You got one Nostr, but then there's multiple apps.
You got one identity.
I want to make a distinction that the Nostr nerds like Derek will call them all clients, but what they all refer to as clients are really what normal people will call apps, right? So like one identity, a multitude of apps.
I use it interchangeably. I say apps.
Yeah.
I say clients or apps. It depends on the conversation, maybe who I'm talking to or what the context is.
The Nostr community is really nerdy and more inclined to use the word client, and then like normal people are like, what's a client? Because that just doesn't seem like a normal person word. So the many apps that you get with one identity, that's the cool thing.
Do you say
identity once?
Do you say when you're talking about email, Heather, what do you call it? An email app or an email client?
Email app. I mean, is it a
really?
part of the country?
I've been saying email client since the 90s, Heather.
Email clients. Well, that's because we're old.
Yeah.
But no,
because it is. Email uses a protocol.
But there's the dumb it down, and then there's the using the uninitiated language of like, okay, I create an identity. So let's say there's profile picture A and bio A, right? Now let's say you go to Facebook, you need profile picture B, bio B. It's a separate activity. But with Nostr, you just have profile A. You have the picture and whatever you put in the bio. And then when you start logging in, however you log in, if you raw dog your NSEC, if you use a Nostr extension or any of the other things that Derek mentioned that are a little more technical, like that bio is going to go with you to the next app and the next app and the next app, or client, as Derek likes to call them. But it's the same you no matter where you plug it in. So that's the magic now, is that you've got
that's the magic. And I think that's, once you experience that magic, that you can hop from app to app and have the same identity, depending on the app, the same type of follows. And you really see the beauty of an open protocol and see how powerful it is. Because, for example, you can be using Divine, and you can love posting your Vine videos. And then you say, hey, I want to post some short notes. Mm-hmm. And then you download Damus, or you download Prime or Amethyst. and you
And wait,
put
wait,
your
let me
NSEC in
dumb it
there.
down. A note is like a tweet. A note is a post. It's like a text post.
Sure.
So Divine does
Sure.
6-second videos.
You know how
then,
every like legacy platform, they call their posts like different things, right?
Yeah.
Like most of them do.
Is it a tweet? Is it a toot? Mastodon calls it toot.
Yeah. Or
Toots didn't take off,
doesn't
did they?
Blue Sky call them skeets or something like that?
That sounds like something else.
Yes, it does sound like something else, and that's why it's hilarious because the community called it that, and like the company, the corporation behind it, they don't like that, but it's out there in the wild now. You can't stop it.
But no, yeah, Nostr. Rather than call it a post or a tweet, let's say it's a tweet. Fine, like people are used to tweets. Fine, it's a tweet. We still say tweet, and it's been like 3 years. Yeah, but no, on Nostr they're notes. But I'm just saying, like normal people who haven't tried Nostr yet think of it as a tweet. It's like a tweet.
Well,
but
there
it
are
has no
people that
limit.
still do that.
Yeah,
there are people that still do that.
But with a tweet, there's a limit. There's a
no
character
wrongdoing.
limit. Tweets are 280 characters unless you pay Elon your $8 a month. But notes on Nostr are unlimited because we don't like limitations on Nostr.
Sure.
We like to be free.
So these notes are only one type of content. You can also sign into blogging, news, article, clients, apps.
I did that today.
And you can see all sorts of long form content and read the content and even create the content. So Nostr has kind of like your Substack, newsletters, kind of has your tweets. We also have Instagram type clients. We have live streaming like Twitch, YouTube like clients, apps.
Anything you want, we've got it.
We pretty much have anything you want in the ecosystem. So I'm going to make a recommendation. If you're listening to this and you're new to the Nostr, or even if you've been here for a while, I would say go check out nostrapps.com and also nostr.net. You'll see a wide variety of Nostr applications there for you to try and check them out. You'll see that the ecosystem is much larger than probably what you had thought.
Yeah, which is a cool thing and still growing. People are vibe coding apps, but there are other apps I'm sure people are working on that we're probably not even aware of yet. But we are aware of Divine at this point in time. That's being worked on. But I can't underestimate. It's something that it's hard to explain to people. If I make a bio on Facebook so that I have a Facebook bio, Facebook's not going to let me take that bio and profile to anything else. And that's what open source means. Facebook is closed source, so I can't take my Facebook thingies with me. And
you know what's interesting here, Heather, is that a decade ago, maybe more, I don't remember the exact timeline, but I'll say in the beginning days of all these legacy platforms, they actually did work together where you would install certain, I'll call them like plugins or add-ons in Facebook or Twitter.
The early days of Facebook, when we still had Farmville.
I think this is even before that. So whenever you would update your profile, maybe on Twitter, change your bio, update your profile photo, Facebook could years ago see that change and update as well. Also, you could import updates. I remember having the Twitter plugin on Facebook
20 years
in my
ago.
tweets showing up.
Social media's been around for 20 years.
Yeah, we got a lot more closed in our legacy platforms over time. They became walled gardens because they realized that user data and keeping people on their platform and not seeing content elsewhere was very valuable to them.
Yeah, they don't want.
So you didn't have this. We don't have that interoperability in legacy clients anymore, but we're bringing it back with Nostr, where essentially by default everything is interoperable because it's all using the same underlying code or protocol.
There's no incentive to force you to stay in the platform or make it so sticky and addictive to keep you scrolling so you see ads. Because again, Nostr's not a company. It's a simple protocol that everybody can build on and make you a plethora of apps that you can enjoy. And so there's no incentive to, I don't know, ruin your experience so that we can, get what we want, because there's no advertisers, there's no shareholders because there's no company, there's nobody funding
There's
it.
no centralized company at the top, but there are
no
several
VC funder. Like
there
there
are
might be
several companies though that do exist that do have funding and do have VCs, but there is nobody at the protocol level that does
those VC funded companies, like, don't mix them up with something that's the size of Facebook and Meta or Google and Alphabet. Like, if they have money, if they have VC money, it's not like tens and tens of millions of dollars. They're not rich by any means.
Well, I'll say they may have several $1 million or at least $1 million, but they don't have
maybe.
But they don't have billions of dollars.
No, they don't. They don't have somebody who does not care that you exist.
They don't have fuck you money.
They do not. We wish that
they don't have 25,000 employees.
Yeah. Like, we wish Nostr were
they don't have
enough to
entire design teams.
No,
they don't have entire marketing teams.
A little more.
They don't have growth teams.
They
have mom and pop sitting in their basement.
Yeah.
That is designing apps and working on apps.
Look at those Primal guys.
The mom and pop basement developer.
The Primal guys don't even have shoes and shirts.
At least one of them. Poor Paul. Paul, God love him. He lives in the jungle. He doesn't have shoes. He doesn't have shirts. He can't even get a haircut. Please zap Paul. Poor guy struggling.
No, Paul is a very health-centered individual who lives that way by choice. We're just giving him hell. But no, it's the important distinguishments about Nostr is that the whole it is not a company thing hits on so many layers, from it's not a company that can recover your account to it's not a company that's going to force feed you ads to please its shareholders. It's not a company that has an incentive to keep you on the platform, so it's not going to punish you if you share a link to your personal blog or your small business or whatever. It's not going to punish you for that, because that's one thing that legacy social media does. It punishes you for sharing a link to something. Remember, maybe, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago, we were sharing links on social media because we were sharing a link to a blog we wrote, or we were sharing a link to our small business, or I was working in radio then, so we would share, links to radio station events or whatever. But now you can't do that. It doesn't incentivize. Everything's going to be platform native content.
Nostr was going to win, Heather. It wasn't interoperability. It was almost 3 years ago to the date when
really? The instant realization.
It was about a week from now, 3 years ago. Elon Musk said, you cannot post links to your profiles on other platforms on Twitter. He said you could not post a link to your Facebook profile, which had 2 billion users. He said you could not post a link to your LinkedIn profile. You could not post a link to your Instagram profile. And are you ready? I just named applications that have billions of users.
Mm-hmm.
He also said you couldn't post links to your Nostr profile. So 3 years ago, when Nostr had 300 fucking developers using it, and 300 people, he deemed it as important as Facebook with 2 billion users, and Instagram with 2 billion users, and LinkedIn with 1 billion users. He literally said it's important as that this protocol with 300 developers and nerds hacking away at it was as important. That moment when he banned posting your Nostr profile, he got a lot of shit, and he retracted that a week later. But for 1 week, it was a bannable fucking offense.
Yeah. For 1 week.
And at that moment, I knew that Nostr was going to be big.
That's we control you. We don't want you leaving our platform. We're not giving you freedom of speech. We're training you to post what we want you to post so that you're now trained. And if you want to be here and do whatever it is you do here, whether it's grow a business or following, whatever, you're incentivized to play our game. You will not get seen unless you post what we like,
Well, that's people adopting their content or their personalities for the algorithm. They're literally playing into the algorithm.
People
you don't have to do that on Nostr
for years. Yeah. I don't even want to say the terms that get self-censored. The self-censored button comes out and people know which words they can't write on social media. They know what they can't say, and I'm not going to say them, because if I do say the dirty words, then YouTube will get us, because I'm ultimately going to post this on YouTube.
We'll have to come up with like a Nostr only, like one where we can say the bad words.
Yeah, that's
all right. So we're getting into some weeds here. I like the weeds, but let's rope her back into dumbing down the tech.
Dumbing down the tech. So we got
dumbing down the tech.
It works everywhere. Now what do? How do I game the algorithm so that I can become the king shit of Turd Island Nostr? I'm going to become the biggest Nostr influencer there ever was. How do I do it? What do I post? How do I game that algo? Derek, what do I do?
So
what's the secret?
Are you asking me because of the Derek algorithm?
I'm asking you because I'm being a smartass.
Oh, well, I thought
there's a Derek algorithm?
Yes, there is a Derek algorithm actually. This Derek algorithm came about 2 years ago.
This I gotta hear. I've been around.
I'm going to look this up real quick here, because I don't want to do the algorithm dirty and say it incorrectly here.
The Derek algorithm. But Nostr doesn't have algorithms.
Nostr doesn't have an algorithm. But so this started out as an inside joke, but I think it actually
as many things do.
As many things do with me. Yeah.
I think that like that.
I think the Derek algorithm, while a joke, shows how Nostr is a proof of work protocol. Now, what does that mean? That means that you need to work to be social, right? Like if you're on your legacy platforms, you are spoon-fed content. You don't have to work to find people. You don't have to work to engage. You don't have to work to be social. You let robots and computers and software do it for you.
You click one.
So Nostr's really different there.
Then it knows who you are.
So
it's figured you out.
I was in Prague. I remember exactly when this happened, and I was posting about the Nostr booth there and how it was very successful and how it was well received, yada yada yada. And my content was blowing up on Nostr, and it was a win for the protocol. It was the first time we ever did this. Like
this was 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
It's like a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Yeah, between a year and a half, 2 years ago, and it said it was blowing up and really successful. And I remember Vanessa, my friend Vanessa from the Damas team, she had said something like praising my engagement and content doing well on Nostr, something like that. And we were having a back and forth, and we ended up saying, well, this is the Derek algorithm. And she's like, well, what's the Derek algorithm? And I came up with a shit post, but my shit post was fairly accurate, really, like of what the Derek algorithm is. So I'm going to read this. Well, yeah, like it's basically a guide of how to be successful. And I said the Derek algorithm is 100% open source. Step 1 is be social, right? Because we need to be social on a social network.
Yeah.
Yes, talk to people. That is actually step 2. Step 2 is engage and interact. That means that you need to comment on people's posts that you follow and let them know that you are here. You can't just lurk. If you want social engagement, you have to engage.
Yeah, don't be afraid to engage with people and follow people. I think in traditional social media, it's like, oh, you follow too many people, it hurts your algorithm. Just forget that. Just wipe your memory, because you actually you benefit from talking to all kinds of people, not just people with big accounts, right? Because that's like a growth hack too. But no, on Nostr, you don't need growth hacks. You don't need to do influencer cringy things. Just Just talk to people?
Well,
just respond and reply to all
well,
of
that's only step 2. Step 3 is you need to create notes, right? Like, you don't want to just be a reply guy. You should create your own content. You should create your own notes.
But
step
remember,
4 step 4 is to send zaps. I think sending zaps is very important. Sending zaps allows you to participate in a value for value economy. But more importantly, if I want to get seen by somebody, I can send them a fat zap. I can send them a large zap, and they're going to see it. That's the easiest way for you to get recognized by somebody, is zap them more than the default amount.
Because if you think about it, you're paying that person for their attention.
You're essentially paying for their attention.
Yeah, you're paying.
If I send somebody, we'll just say an example. If I send somebody 10,000 sats, that's more than
it's like
the default most people send. If I really want to get their attention, maybe I'll send them 100,000 sats.
There you go. So that's like saying thank you in advance. It's like if I send Derek 1,000 sats because I've said some smart ass thing to him, because like that would never happen. It's like, okay, you're getting your goat, but here's 1,000 sats for your trouble. It's kind of like that.
And the next part of the Derek algorithm is to comment, and not only comment on other people that you follow their posts, but also reply and comment on your own posts. So if somebody comments on one of your notes, you need to reply to them sometimes. Mm-hmm. You can't just be the influencer type person that posts something and then disappears and never responds.
Exactly.
Your comments should be more than the notes that you're sending, in my opinion.
You keep the conversation going. You don't just post and run. You don't just spray and pray.
Absolutely.
You got to keep it going. And you never know who's going to be in your feed. You never know.
So if I look at Primal, tells you this. If I look at my Primal notes in the past 3 years, I've sent 23,000 notes.
Damn.
I've sent 76,000 replies. So obviously I'm engaging and interacting and commenting.
You're a motor mouth. You're the kid that got
Listen, you don't have to do it as much as Derek does to participate in the Derek algorithm, right? Like the Derek algorithm comes in light and heavy modes. Like,
do you remember when somebody, I think it was QW, I blame QW for a lot of things. So he started the reply to notes ratio where you should respond more than you post, because traditional social media, people just post and think the cream will rise, but no. And Nostr, I've done 13,000 notes, but 16,000 replies. I guess I'm also a motor mouth. And
I remember, I'm going to say January 2023, almost 3 years ago. I don't remember the person, but they DM'd me and they said, Derek, I appreciate your content, but you post too often and you're drowning out people in my feed, so I'm going to unfollow you.
You're a motor mouth. You're chatty. Well, you know what though? There's two ways to look at the feed. In my opinion, I mean, this is like, I'll use Damus a lot, but you can look at the notes feed or the notes and replies feed. And I like to look at notes and replies because then I see everything that's coming through.
You can join the conversation then.
Yeah. I call it butting in.
So
just butt in.
The next step of the Derek algo, this is kind of the shit post here. I really used my favorite GIF to send, probably still is today, but one of my most favorite GIFs, and I would send it often, was the Denzel Washington "My Man" GIF.
Yeah, the "My Man." And
that's actually a step. Send my man.gif. Like, if you do that, you're gonna have a good time on the Nostr.
Yeah, send GIFs. Send any GIF.
The next step, I think, is be active often. Now, not everybody can do this. I understand this. It's hard to be active if you have commitments and responsibilities that take up a lot of your time. So I will say, in relation to this, if you can't be active often, when you are active, it's okay to boost your old notes. It's okay. That was kind of like a faux pas to do on legacy social media, but we also don't have a lot of mechanisms to bring content forward on Nostr.
Yeah.
So I've been saying this for years. boost your own notes if you think it's a good one, so other people can find your content if you're not actively posting.
Or just repost yesterday's note today, like for a different time zone. It's like
different
you don't
time
see
zones.
that.
You gotta do it.
Well, the key difference is on legacy social media, when things started out, it was a reverse chronological feed. But over time, the algorithms took over and they decide the content you should be fed.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter if you boost your own notes. But on Nostr, since we're in a reverse chronological feed, if Derek didn't see what I posted this morning because he was in a meeting or something, but I want him to see it later, well, I would tag you. But the point being is that if I posted a note this morning that I thought, that was a banger, or that was an event that I wanted people to know about, and I don't think anybody interacted with it, maybe it was just a slow time or whatever, I'll repost it again, because why rewrite it? Why write the same thing over and over, especially if it's an event?
That's fine to do.
Yeah, that's
the last.
So it's like a different, like
the last step.
Think of 2006 Twitter.
The last step of the Derek algorithm is to just rinse and repeat. Just be active, engage, interact, create notes, send zaps, send some gifts from time to time, and you're gonna have a good time on the Nostr. I think that people that come and use it for a couple days or make one note and then they disappear for 3 months and say, "Hey, I'm back." Well, you're going to have a bad time because you're not putting the time in. Like, this is like a golden rule of life. You get
proof of work
out of something what you put into something. If you don't do the work, you're not going to reap the benefits. So if you only put 10 minutes a week into Nostr, you're not going to get hours of good times. Like, that's just not how it's going to work.
I think people have gotten into a mindset where because social media got really serious and people got really influencer-y, and they added things like subscriptions, and like if you get 100,000 followers or whatever on Twitter, whatever it is on Twitter, X, whatever you call it now, like then you can monetize and you can make money. But in the beginning, you could just like shit post and dick around and talk to strangers, and like that's what Nostr is all about now. So that's the key thing, is like you don't have to have a posting strategy. It's not like, oh, every day post a thread or do it at this time or whatever. It's mostly like get on, talk to people, have fun, don't take it too seriously. That's the key thing. It's about not taking it seriously. Like, your content's kind of disposable, like you could post 7 or 10 times a day and it's not that serious. People are actually going to see, this is the key difference with Nostr. People are actually going to see your posts and they're actually going to respond. Whereas if I get on Twitter and I post something, maybe somebody I know who actually follows me might hit the like button or say something. But on Nostr, I can post the same thing. Guarantee you somebody's going to probably respond because it's going to show up in that feed. It's just floating by. It might show up in the global feed. Somebody responds, and then, their response shows up in another feed. It's very organic. It's very simple. And as long as you're interacting with people and being a part of the community, it's really a community, essentially. I mean, it's not like it's a platform or a company. It's really just, we're making our own community as we go along every day based on who we interact with. So if you stop interacting, you're out of the community. But the more you keep talking to people, the more you're part of the community. It's really simple.
So you hit on something that I think brings us to our next tech topic to tear down here. You mentioned how notes or content is kind of disposable. And while that can be true, some content of ours, maybe we don't want it to be disposable. Maybe we want to make sure it's around for forever, the foreseeable future.
Okay. Can live.
So that makes me want to talk about.
Okay. So like, are relays permanent? What?
Well, relays are just a fancy way of saying server. So think of it as your network configuration. Everybody has heard the word network before, or server. If someone says relay, just think of server or network. That's all you need to do.
It's a computer.
Don't try to get too technical. It's just a server. It's your network settings. And you can change these server network settings. You can choose where you store your content. That can be a public relay that everybody can read and write to. That can be a smaller community relay that only allows certain people to write to it or certain people to read from it. Or it can be a paid relay where you have to pay a fee to be able to use, to be able to read or to be able to write. And there's all sorts of other types of relays. We don't really need to get into all of them. Like there's
Do I get a privilege with that paid relay? Like what am I paying for?
You could. So if I was a content creator, which I guess I am, as you listen to this podcast that I'm helping create.
Derek's fighting the
if I was
life.
I could have a paid Derek relay where if I wanted, I could only post my content to my relay and I could have it be my community where you would have to pay me to get access to that. And you can do that. There are paid relays that function that way. Now, there's also relays that are, well, like smaller community type relays where you have to join a membership through some mechanism for that community, and then you can't write to that relay or read from that relay unless you are a member of that community, whether that's paid or not.
My own.
I
can make a yoga.
You could start
I can make a yoga relay.
You could start a yoga relay. Now it's going to be hard to only make yoga content exist on that relay, but if you wanted it to be for the yoga community and give the yoga community a place to post where they could generally put all of their community content, then sure, you could absolutely do that. And you could make it free or you could charge for it if you wanted.
What if I'm a musician? Could there be a music relay?
Sure.
Maybe is that the right question?
You could have a relay for any type of content, for any type of community. The issue comes down to a more technical issue where how do you make that relay only have that type of content? Which that's a little bit harder. But if you don't really care about if you don't really care about a type of specific content and you only just want it for that type of community, think of it as how you can have a Discord for a community and they can post a wide variety of content, but you're all coming together based on one type of
server
bonding. Well, you're for one type of issue. It could be a cat community. You all love cats, but every once in a while, someone might be like, "Hey, here's a picture of my dog," right? Maybe and you're allowed to do that.
We're taking the dog people off the relay. No. Okay,
but you could do that. You could run a relay for cat photos and
cats only.
You could also run a relay where it's cat lovers, but they also like to post their cooking photos too. Yeah, if you wanted to.
Make a relay for cats.
Communities, communities can be as broad or as narrow as you would like them to be.
Well, here's the thing. You don't have to know how to run a relay. You don't have to know anything about relays to use Nostr. I'm the non-technical person. I don't have a relay. I'm not going to run a relay. And then Derek, I know Derek's got a relay.
I run several.
He's like, I don't have one. I have many. I am the king of relays. How many relays do you have?
So I
just thought you had one.
I run multiple relays. So I run my Derek relay. Think of it as my vault where I send all of my content to where I know that content will always exist.
So it's
because it's mine. It's literally sitting behind me and to the right. And that's where all of my content lives. It's here in my house. So nobody can take that content away from me. So I'm in charge of my content.
You own your content. Literally, it's in your house.
Yeah, it's right back here.
Yeah, right there. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I'm the only person that can take that away from me. And I can't censor myself.
You've got control.
I mean, if I want to, I could censor myself. I could ban myself, but I'm probably not going to do that.
Maybe
so my content will always be available on my server, and it's sitting right here.
Okay.
Now, I also run a paid relay where you have to pay. It's kind of a community paid relay. It's the Nostr Plebs relay. It's the oldest. Nostr Plebs is coming up on its 3rd anniversary here in a week. It's the oldest service provider, oldest business on Nostr.
Derek's a Nostr OG.
Yeah. The third relay I run is a public web of trust relay. Now, that type of relay, think of it as a very, very large community relay where it's everybody that I follow can write to it, and then everybody that they follow can write to it. It ends up being like 29,000 people can write to it, so it's very large.
Damn.
But that's because my web of trust is large. So I follow like 1,300 people, and then all 1,300 people who they follow is allowed to write to the relay. But anybody in the world can read from it, but only those 29,000 people in my web of trust can write to it. It's a way to stop spam. If you're not in the web of trust, you can't write to it. So if there's a spam attack going on, I would tell people to use the web of trust relays where you're most likely it's a human and not a bot, and there's no spam. So those are the three relays that I run.
So you got the Derek relay, the Web of Trust relay, and the Nostr Plebs relay. That's like really technical. So
but you don't have to be that technical, right? Like,
no, you don't.
So at Soapbox,
I don't even know what relays I have.
well, at Soapbox, we're working on a cool update for Shakespeare where I could build my community app and say, I want to also have my community app have a relay, and it'll deploy a relay for you. You literally don't need to know how to do anything besides say, build me a profile for my creative content that I put out, and also add a relay for my community or something like that. And it will do that for you. It will build that profile for all of your content to showcase it, and it'll deploy a relay for your community.
So
now, that isn't here yet. Soon.
Okay, soon. So in the future, though, I can ask Shakespeare to build me a cat content relay, and I can have just like cat videos and cat gifs. And
what would be cool? You can't do it yet, but it would be cool if you could deploy an AI to then look at the content and remove content that isn't a cat photo.
Uncat content. Only cats.
Uncat my relay, or undog my cat relay.
Oh my god, the things we're going to be able to do. That might be a good prediction for 2026. Like, you will be able to ascertain, like, what kind of content.
Yes, I think that is a fair prediction, because probably by the end of this month, you'll be able to deploy a relay. And then in the next 12 months, could you moderate that relay's content with AI? Yeah, I don't think that's a tough ask.
There should be like a bad day relay where if you're just having a bad day, you should be able to get on that relay and just it only shows you like happy content, like puppies and baseball. And
Fiat Jeff has a relay like that. So Fiat Jeff, he also known as Dad. He is the founder of Nostr, so I jokingly and lovingly call him Dad. He has several relays that only show certain types of content. He's been experimenting with it for a while, and one of them is I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but there is like a good, happy, gratitude type content only.
Aww,
then there's like there's different like political ones. There's a GM one. I think it's just like Good Morning Post or something like that.
I thought he hated the Good Mornings.
He's a good sport. I think so. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but there's several of them. So
bad kids. He puts up with it.
So I'm gonna confuse you even more now, Heather, because we talked about storing content and relays, but at the end of the day, that's only storing our text contents. That stores your blogs. That stores your notes.
Because there's different file types or something, right?
Well, any type of media that you share, such as a photo or a video or an audio song, that media, technically speaking, it doesn't get stored on Nostr relays. It needs to be stored on a media server. Like, I'm getting really technical, but if we think about it, that's kind of good. So we have a place to store all of the information and all the content, and then we have a separate place to store all of the media, all the videos, and all of the photos and audio, things like that, all the media.
Well,
so that means
pay for
that means you have to have a second
myself.
configuration, though.
Yeah.
So that's confusing. So you have relays that you use, servers, remember, but now you also have to have a second type of server. You have to have a media server.
And by now we're scaring the crap out of people.
That's confusing.
Like, what do I have to do? Yeah. I pay for Nostr build, which is nostr.build,
so
and it's 80,000 sats a year.
Most apps that you have out there for Nostr, they do a good job of hiding a lot of this. They'll automatically pick some default relays for you. They'll automatically pick some media servers for you. So the average person doesn't need to worry about these things. But if you are somebody that posts a lot of content, you're a content creator, you're a power user, you have large videos, large photos, you're going to use up more space than the average person. So you need to think about where you're storing your content, because at the end of the day, somebody has to pay to store that, whether that be the app developer, the app you're using, or you. And Nostr gives you that choice. You can choose your media servers. You can choose to use an existing company's server, or you can even run your own.
I'm trying to know. You're talking to jog my memory. I think that I finally paid for Nostr build at some point when I realized I wanted to post videos. This is long before Divine came along. But I probably had a video of something that I wanted to post, because it was probably about a year ago, because I think I just re-upped on my Nostr build annual. So there was something that was just a video that I wanted to post really bad, and it was too long for me to just post from Damus or Primal the way it was. It was time to pay.
Was it giving an error?
Storage. I think it was, or just wasn't letting me do it. And I was like, it's time for me to, get back to the community. I'll pay for Nostr build, and pay for my media to be hosted. And I've used the hell out of it. I've definitely got whatever it cost me. I've definitely gotten that money's worth out of it to where I can. I mean, I posted a 30-minute video at one point. I just to see what I could do. How far can I push it?
That's more than the average person posts, right? Like, people just usually post like short clips. So if you try to upload a large video and file size or length, sometimes it's going to fail. And we could do better there. We could let people know why it's failing instead of just giving people frustration.
Essentially, you could post a mini, podcast episode. I've posted long videos. I've posted a few minutes, 15 minutes. It's sort of like choose your own adventure. Do you want to be I don't know, not compresses, right? But like, there's a time limit. Like, you can only post so much on Twitter, or like for example, LinkedIn, those pretty generous. You can post up to a 45-minute video on LinkedIn, believe it or not. No, but nobody does it, but you can. That's the thing.
I'm going to start using LinkedIn again.
No, you're not. I know better. I know you better than that. Not. But I mean, like, if you don't like the rules, Nostr doesn't really have rules. Like, you might have to pay to get something done that you want to do, but like, no platform's going to tell you no. Like, there's no Nostr platform to tell you like, you can't do that. There's a way to
Heather,
do
everything. You mentioned Nostr build to store your images. They're the oldest Nostr media provider. They've been around for. In a week, it's going to be like 3 years for them as well.
Really?
All this stuff has happened like 3 years ago.
And you were a part of all of it.
Yeah, back in the day. And so they're a great service provider. You can go to their website, nostr.build, and you can pay them a yearly fee to host media there. Now, they're not the only one. There's several others. They're just and the one that we're mentioning now, they've been around the longest, and they have a good infrastructure. So I would definitely check them out.
A paying customer, they're not paying me.
Now, Primal.net, Primal also offers media hosting. You can pay, I believe it's $6 or $7 a month.
Yeah, I think it's $7
to get their premium service, and Primal Premium allows you to upload larger, longer files and so forth. So there's all sorts of different options. Now,
Yeah.
We don't have this yet, Heather. But remember how just a few minutes ago I told you someday in the very near future you're going to be able to deploy a relay. Well, we're also going to make it so you can deploy your own media server too. You don't need to know
From
how to do
Shakespeare?
anything technical. Yeah.
So there we
So
go.
you could say, build me my community app, and you describe how you want your community app to be built, and then you say, I would also like my own community relay, and I would like my own community media server or place to host images and so forth, and it'll deploy that. Now you'll have to pay for those things, like you'll have to pay for hosting,
but I could. That's the magic.
but you could.
I could make a yoga media server and upload my yoga videos there.
So we'll set up different providers that you could use, such as like Cloudflare, or maybe we use our own service provider, and you have the big tech option, but then we also give you our option as well. So you'll be able to do that in the future. That's coming at some point.
The near-ish future, I guess.
And that'll be great, because now ETA. There is no easy way. There is no, well, that's kind of a lie. I'll say there's no easy way to deploy a Blossom, a media server.
Well, or let's rephrase it. There's a way for a Derek to do it. There's not a way for a Heather to do it. Like I'm not coding. I'm not a developer.
There's a
technical level that I can't get to on my own.
Well, there is a website, Nostr1.com. If you go there, you can deploy a relay. It's a form you fill out. It's really easy. You can deploy a relay there. Now, you don't technically own that relay. Cloud Fodder from Nostr1.com.
But I wouldn't know what to do with it. Like I'm not at that technical level.
But you could do that there.
Yeah,
that's the least non-technical version of deploying a relay. We're going to try to make that better at Soapbox. So I'm excited to see that.
We're gonna make,
so that'll give you
non-technical folks. That's the important thing.
Well, let's see. Is there anything else that we didn't dumb down that we needed to? So we started at the very beginning. We talked about keys. And then we talked about identity portability. We talked about apps clients. We talked about relays. We talked about media servers. We even talked about algorithms.
Yeah, or no algorithm, or the fact that you kind of create your own little algorithm, do your own thing. It's a personal
responsibility. Nostr allows you to create your own algorithm. You can be your own algorithm.
The theme here is that you have to take responsibility in places where this has been provided for you for the last 20 years by these big tech companies. So like you take responsibility for your keys, you take responsibility for your feed and what shows up in it. You've got to curate it. You take responsibility for the people you don't like and you don't want to hear from. You got to mute them. That's part of creating your own algorithm, just as much as you've got to follow the people you do want to hear from. Like Nostr's all about taking that responsibility to create the experience you want, down to like, yeah, I'm going to choose a relay, or maybe I'm like Derek and I'm a little more technical. I want to build my own relay, or later in time you will be able to make one in Shakespeare and do your own thing. It's really Nostr's choose your own adventure. Like, boom, here's your key pair. Now go have the experience you want.
It's important to note that if you do choose a relay or a media server, you can change that at any point you want to. You can change that every day.
You're not committed for life, but it's you're going to get
people change them often.
Yeah, and it's up to you what you make of Nostr. So like you're going to get a key pair from the machine. The machine gives it to you, right? And then it's like, well, what do I do with this now? And I think in the beginning I was lost. Like, what do I do here? What do I post? How do I find people? And like over time I realized, oh, I could just talk to people. Like people actually seeing what I post, and like there's cool.
You mean being social?
Yeah, and like I have to talk to people, to ask people questions, and people are actually going to answer. Like this is amazing, because you're used to not being, at this point in time, you are used to not being seen. You're invisible. Like you might even be shadow banned, like my little niece. She can't find her on Twitter. She's shadow banned. You can't even type in her name and have it come up. It's so bad.
There's one thing that we didn't talk about, and we're out of time, and this topic takes up a whole entire show.
Oh, future episode.
It is the most technical aspect of Nostr, unfortunately, but it's also one of my favorite aspects.
What?
Is Bitcoin wallets, Lightning wallets.
Oh, fully loaded topic.
Zaps.
The zapping, how to work a wallet.
I will say, unfortunately, using a wallet to participate in the value for value economy is unfortunately one of the hardest things to do on Nostr, but it's so worth it. It's hard because there's so many different choices and we all don't fit into the same box. So there's so many different ways and options and different ways to go that it makes it more complicated. If there was only one way and that was the way, we would say, boom, that's the way you do it. But unfortunately, or fortunately, we have choice, and choice makes it hard.
31 flavors of wallets.
So that's a future show. We'll be dumbing down the tech round 2, talking about wallets. What's
oh my gosh,
what's all the fuss about wallets?
That has been the thing. Well, you've purple pilled a lot of people.
There's non-custodial wallets. There's KYC. There's non-KYC. I'm saying things that nobody fucking understands, but we're going to talk about it in a future episode. We're going to do it.
It's a complicated topic. Well, you like me have purple pilled people in person, where you're standing there with the person, they're on their phone, they're hitting buttons, you're trying to explain it to them, and then like the Zaps come up and or they sign up for Primal, and it's like, wait a minute. What is this one button here in the center of Primal, and it's the wallet button, unless you're in New York, and then the wallet doesn't work, which is why this is so complicated.
Or Canada.
But yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, Canada too. So yeah, Nostr.
Yeah, or Canada.
I hopefully this was a good dumbing down, a slower pace to talk about the main ideas.
Well,
of Nostr
dumbing down the tech is something that I have pretty much my entire adult life been doing. It's something I love. So if there's something that Heather and I did not dumb down enough for you, if we need to explain something better, please reach out to us and let us know. And we would love to break it down even further for you.
Leave some kind of comment somewhere where you're listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube, or find us on Nostr. He's easy to find. He's Derek Ross, Derek Ross, Derek Ross, the CEO of Nostr. You earned the nickname though, bro. You earned it.
There's no Nostr CEO, but there is a CEO of some apps. I'll tell you that.
There you go. We just called Derek that because he really honestly took the lead with trying to welcome people to Nostr, onboard people to Nostr. He really wanted everybody to have a good experience, like he was the CEO, king of customer service. So, credit where credit's due, bro.
I won a customer service award about 15 years ago from my local Chamber of Commerce.
Did you really? Chamber of Commerce? Yeah.
I was a director of the Chamber of Commerce. Or not director, I was a board member. Sorry, I was a board member for many years. Oh, back in another life.
You're such a joiner.
Okay.
All right, gang sign.
Okay, well, thank you for tuning in and letting us dumb down the tech for you. We're going to do it again.
We'll keep dumbing it down. Or it's just going to get better.
We'll keep doing it. Well, a combination of both. Eventually, it's going to get to a point where it's going to be face roll worthy, and that's what the whole show is going to be. I'm just going to be like rolling my face across the keyboard, and you guys will be like, "See, he's posting on Nostr right there."
Eventually, the robots will just read our minds. They'll read the chip that Elon's putting in our brains. So
Elon with his Neuralink will, come in here and take over.
No.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Brain.
Check us out on Fountain. Fountain allows you to participate in the value for value circular economy. You can boost us, you can zap us, let us know what we're doing, good and bad. We'd love to hear from you.